Hi friends, happy Friday. It's Friday and you have a whole week off before we start summer. You deserve it. You've worked so hard this whole entire time. We're so super proud of you. We cannot express how proud we are of you because we know this was not easy, friends, but you made it, and now you have a whole week off to go outside and play and relax and maybe go to the beach or go to the park or go for a walk or just go in your backyard and play and enjoy yourself. Okay? So today, for science, we're going to review everything we learned about this week. And then you'll have a fun worksheet to complete after this. Keep it super simple since it's the last day before our break. Today we're just going to review everything we learned this week about natural resources. And like I said, then you have a fun little worksheet to do. All right, so let's get started. So again, natural resources this week. So we talked about what a natural resource is. They're resources that things that we use that come from nature. So remember, they're natural. They come from nature. We don't need to make them. Examples were ocean, sun, minerals, rocks, wind, soil, trees, corn, animals, oil and gas. Those are all examples of our natural resources. They come from nature. Then we talked about a man-made resource. And a man-made resource was a resource that we had to make. Okay, it did not come from nature. Someone has to make it either in a factory or something. It has to be made. And examples of that were paper, chairs, bread, clothing and shoes, rings, really old jewelry, pies, pencils, and statues. These are all things that we do not get from nature. We use natural resources to make them, but they have to be made. We can't just go outside and pick it. Then we talked about how we use natural resources, and we talked about we can use them in many, many different ways. And we used water. We use it for drinking, transportation, bathing, and cooking. We use air for transportation, energy, and breathing. We use rocks to build buildings, to build roads, to build walls. We talked about trees and how we use it for paper and chairs and tables and houses and buildings. We talked about animals, how we use them for clothing and shoes and drinks and food. Some of our favorite food comes from animals. Talked about how we use oil for gas, and we use oil in our car and the gas for our car and to heat our housing. Right? So these are all different ways we use natural resources, and we use them in many ways. They're very, very important to us, which then brings us to some that they're important to us, but some are renewable and some are non-renewable. And we talked about how renewable resources are resources that only take a few years to replace. As we use them, they're typically able to be replaced in that amount of time. And that was like sun, wind, water, rain, oceans, lakes, puddles, trees, and all kinds of plants, and even animals, right? Those are our renewable resources. Then we had our non-renewable resources, are the ones that they can still be replaced, but they take a super long time to replace. It's not just a few years. It's a lot of years. And that was oil and gas we talked about. Those are the two that are really non-renewable, and those are the two that take a really long time to be renewed. And since we talked about having to renew our resources, we talked about how we can conserve them and how the word conserve means to save or protect those natural resources. And we could do that by using less or not using them or using them again or using them to make something else. And we use the 3 R's for that. Reduce. We talked about reduce was to reduce the amount that you use less of something, like turning off the lights when you leave a room, or not having the water run when you're brushing your teeth, only using it when you need to. We talked about reusing, which means to use something again. Instead of just throwing it away, try and use it again for something else. For example, if you go to the store and you have a plastic bag, if the plastic bag is still good, use it again the next time you go to the store. Or using both sides of the paper. If you draw a picture on the front, when you want to draw another picture, flip it over and draw it on the back. And we talked about recycling, which was taking something and turning it into something else. So when you have your recycling bins, to make sure cans, bottles, paper, cardboard aren't just thrown into the regular trash, because those are things that we can use them to make something else or make more of that particular item. All right, friends, so we have talked a lot about natural resources this week, and you even did in the beginning of the year in social studies. So natural resources are things we get and use from nature. Okay, and then there are man-made resources, and those resources have to be made somewhere, in a factory or something. Someone has to make them. You may use natural resources to make them, but they still have to be made. All right, friends, so you did an amazing job. Now you have a worksheet, and then you have a break. So enjoy yourself. You did it. Bye, friends.